Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where... Oh, so you're stalking me now?
No, I'm just running into you in a premeditated manner.
If you say so.
Sure. Each episode will watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
We'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe abused.
And of course, the shenanigans!
Shenanigans.
Oh boy, and does this ever have them?
This episode, we'll be discussing When in Rome.
When in Rome!
Yeah! A 2010 film.
2010. That was a weird time in society. I had never heard of this film.
Me either.
This was a really fun one, especially because it's starring Kristen Bell, whom I love and didn't know had a rom-com.
She's amazing.
She's so great in this.
I came across this film as a pitch because, for those of you who don't know, we have a sort of running Excel document of films we'd like to cover, and we're trying to change things up so we don't do all early 2000s rom-coms or all 20 teens at the same time, so we vary it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was looking for some stuff in the early 2010s and came across this film. I watched the trailer. On premise alone, I was like, this needs to go on.
Absolutely. This is unhinged, y'all.
It's bonkers.
Let's do a quick plot synopsis before we dive into how insane it is.
Let's do it.
Because I'm going to bury the lead if I don't.
Yeah.
After Beth has a meet-cute and misunderstanding with Nick, she decides to, quote, save some people from love by taking their coins out of a magical love fountain.
Naturally, all the men whose coins she, quote, rescues fall desperately in love with her.
Shenanigans ensue! Naturally.
Of course.
Unbelievable. That's like doing so much work, the word naturally.
That's why I had to drag it on.
It is the most insane thing. So basically, in a drunken fit of sadness, girl takes off her shoes. We'll get to that trope.
Oh, yes.
And then enters the fountain. And you're like, what do you mean? She just like dips her toes in? She starts that way. Then she gets fully in the fountain, does a little dance, plucks a bunch of coins out, and then is chased off by the police.
Yeah.
Unhinged.
And the thing is, she only grabs 5 coins, right? She's like, I'll save you. I'll save you. You I don't care about saving.
Yeah.
And then runs off. And okay, this is 2010 shenanigans in terms of like where we were in the state of the world. But I was just like, how, out of all of these coins that you've plucked out,
Not one woman.
and all straight white men who can speak English,
Truly.
the chances of that happening are so remote.
So remote. And that they all can either quickly go back to or are originally from New York?
Right?
No.
Impossible.
Impossible.
Movie shenanigans.
Movie shenanigans. And I don't mind because it's perfect. I don't know what else to say aside from that before we hop all the way in, just because magic is already so ridiculous in a rom-com, and the rules of the magic in this film are particularly nonsensical.
And ever-changing.
Yeah. We get new information all the time, so sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this rule that we've established. Actually, there's a loophole to the rule.
Yes. Ugh.
These rules are ever-changing. New information comes up and it's like, nope, this thing that we've established
Throw it away.
doesn't matter. So silly.
so dumb.
You have to go watch this film so you can appreciate the level of stupidity.
Don't understand why. I don't understand the ending.
None of this makes sense.
No, they should have ended the film at the Guggenheim. We'll get there. But holy moly. So, without further ado, I will give you those tropes.
Yeah.
We have a meet cute.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a misunderstanding. We've got music doing the most.
The most. It goes so hard.
So hard. We have montages.
Montages.
We've got meddling weather. And now that I finished all the M's, I'm
cute.
we have girl, put on your shoes.
Girl.
Oh no. Also, what are you doing getting in mysterious fountain water?
Gross.
Girl. We have fast dance to slow.
The most unhinged version of this I've ever seen.
We have being clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
We've got best friends. And they're really good.
Mm.
They're very chaotic because they're like work friends. I don't know that she has real friends, if I'm honest.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because her relationship is with her job. So
We've got a grand romantic gesture and a dramatic chase. This might be my favorite dramatic chase of all time. I think it is. It's so dumb.
all of it is so dumb.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Wherever you want to start, I don't know how to pick.
Oh, I actually want to start with the fast dance to slow.
Do it.
Because that was so unhinged. We know how this trope usually goes. It's at some function. In this case, they're at her sister's wedding, who's in this whirlwind romance. If I have the time correct,
2
she
weeks.
met and married him within the space of 2 weeks. Craziness.
Why?
Yeah, right? Why? Why the rush?
Oh, well, so I have one follow-up question. I thought that she met him on a flight to New York, so she flew immediately back to Italy, or she flew to Italy, met this guy, and then never left.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's a pertinent question. It's a question I also have. But since we are here, who were they paying to throw together this chapel wedding in the space of like, wait, did they get engaged on the flight? Like, how? The flower arrangements, the food.
My understanding is that this is his hometown. It's like a tiny town, so it's not as difficult because they're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Aren't they in Rome?
I don't think they're in Rome, not Rome proper, do you think?
I don't know. I've never been to Rome, but the name of the film is When in Rome.
Yeah.
And she gets the coins. So
I just thought it was like
I don't know.
she flew into Rome and then went over and then, yeah.
I don't know. Either way, getting all of this done in a week is insane. Back to the trope. Fast dance. We all know how it goes. The music changes. They look at each other. Someone says something of like, don't be weird, or can I have this dance? And then they dance slow.
Yeah.
In this crazy film, the fast dancing gets to a point where it's so heightened and so worked up that there is a blackout.
Yep.
The music stops. When the lights come back on, they are up close and personal, and then the slow music starts.
Yeah. I
can't.
This is my logic.
Okay.
He has magical lightning powers since he was struck by lightning in a football game. And so he just makes power go on and off, and also thunderstorms follow him.
Yes. And try to attack him. That makes so much sense.
There's actually a guy like that. That's a real thing.
Really?
Just because this is the stupidest, weirdest thing that I think about way too much.
Okay.
So this man was a park ranger. His name is Roy Sullivan. He was struck by lightning 7 times in his life.
What?
It is actually reported at one point that he was out. A storm is slowly rolling in. He can see it in the distance. And he's like quoted saying, "Oh no, it's happening again."
No.
And he like drove away to get away from the lightning, and it still found him.
What?
This guy was the first step in human evolution into magic powers.
How is he still alive?
He passed in 1983, but he was born in 1912.
That's mind-boggling.
And so I just assume that Nick is our generation's Roy Sullivan.
There must be a deleted scene somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh my word. That was an insane iteration of this trope.
I love it so much.
Blackout.
Where's Professor X when you need him?
Yeah, right.
It's so dumb. I love it.
Do you have a choice? Have you marinated in where you want to start?
Oh, yes, of course. My turn. I would like to begin at the end.
Okay. With this dramatic chase.
That dramatic chase is so stupid.
The clown car? I can't.
So Will Arnett has recently divulged that he's Anthony, not Antonio, and he's not Italian at all. He's just some dude from Jersey who decided he wanted to be a painter, so he quit his job and like flew to Italy and painted for a while and then came home because he fell in love with Kristen Bell's character because of magic. And so, for whatever reason, his car, when he gets back, or had always been this tiny little Italian-style car, like those little, I don't even know what you call it, a Gia, or one of those tiny little four-seaters.
A Mini Cooper, like that kind of size.
Even smaller, yeah. And so, all five of them, the four dudes and Beth, pile into the car. And then drive through traffic in New York City during a blackout, which is just everyone trying to drive places because there's no subway.
Yeah.
And then at some point, Kristen Bell says, just drive like you're in Rome. And he's like, hops the curb, goes around people, gets insane. He goes through the open door, which magically opens because of Napoleon Dynamite. Except it wasn't. Someone just pressed the automatic door opener. It's the Guggenheim. I thought we were going to drive up the ramp.
Yes, of course.
Subverting expectations, y'all. This movie has it all.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And this all happens after Beth tried to have an intervention with all the men to give them back their coins. It's just...
It took it way further than I was expecting it to. I was expecting it to end where they like crash into something or have a dramatic thing where they break something or whatever.
Yeah.
I was not expecting going into the lift, going up in the lift.
Yeah.
All in this little car. That was not at all where I thought it was going to go.
Nope.
Yeah.
Loved it.
It takes the dumb all the way.
It does. I love it. Commit to the bit.
Yes. They fully committed to the bit. While we on the dramatic chase, there was like a little extra dramatic chase where what she thinks is Nick's poker chip drops to the floor and like rolls far away, and she's running desperately after it in the museum.
Not just rolls away, it rolls down the entire ramp of the Guggenheim. She runs through every art exhibit.
So there was like a little bonus dramatic chase.
Yeah, if you don't know what this museum looks like, please Google the inside and then imagine running the entire thing chasing a coin.
It's like a ramp.
Yeah.
The entire thing is like a slow curved ramp.
For like 6 stories.
It's so dumb.
Hilarious.
I love it. I'm going to talk about music doing the most.
That's what I was going to ask you to do next.
Okay. No need to ask. That's where I was going.
Because that's your specialty and you always write the music down. So it has to be you.
So I'm not going to do it like quite in the same way that I usually do with a scene and lyrics and scene and lyrics. But just know that the music is starting so hard, so strong from the very beginning.
Before we get out of the blackout.
Yes. Because what we usually do is we set up our notes, and then we call each other and say go so that we're on the same time when we watch. I texted Jasmine because I was getting my stuff together. The music just started. It wasn't like la da 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 da, you know, with the studio's logos coming up. It just went like full throttle. And then it was so cool because I got to see your experience of it, even though I'd warned you.
Yeah.
Because even with the heads up, you were still shocked by how quickly it just throws you in.
So great.
Anyway, some of the highlights is we are showing the whole setup of Beth being this working girl, and what's playing is Aloe isn't something I've heard how to pronounce. Like that one, I did a terrible singing of that one, but you know the one, because she's a working girl. She doesn't have time for love. When her ex comes up to her, makes it seem that he's trying to get back together with her, but has like sought her out at a work function to tell her he's getting married to someone else. Unhinged. The DJ plays a punk rock version of Here Comes the Bride.
So good.
Followed by a record scratch when she's like, no, I'm not getting married. It's so dramatic.
And it's because, like, her friends are right there, but they're eavesdropping poorly.
Yeah.
Also, just, like, the whole thing about it, why did her ex say everything he said the way he said it?
I don't know.
It was such a weird intro.
It was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Mean as well.
Very confusing. Like, you know what this sounds like.
Yeah. And why are you seeking her out at a work event to tell her you're getting married to someone else?
I think it's because it's the only place he knew that he could find her.
Given Beth's character, that's fair. Another instance is Nick running down the aisle, and his ringtone
Oh, God.
is, "She's my cherubah."
He's late to his own best friend's wedding. Amazing.
And then the last one I'm going to mention is that we have a sad montage, and we fully have Adele's "Make You Feel My Love" playing with rain.
It was 2010.
So intense. These are just some of the highlights of music doing the most in this film, but there are way more.
Yeah. I want to do montages.
Of course. It would be weird if you didn't.
I know. I may have missed some, so please jump in whenever. They do the coming in hot at the beginning, getting to know her job and workplace montage, which is just a good intro with the music and stuff. I also have written down the love montage.
Yes.
Which is just all of the men love bombing her.
Oh.
And they do that twice. They have the following her around, and they have the one in the office where there's way too many things. It's just so funny. At one point, Nick shows up with a dinky bouquet of flowers, and I only say dinky because her office is overflowing with bouquets at that point. And it's so pathetic that he then just hands them off to her receptionist.
Yeah.
So funny. And then I've also got the one at the end, which I always love.
Yes.
And I guess it's not quite a montage, but it's like the credit montage, which was more of a dance number in this film, and I loved it.
I love a random dance number, apropos nothing.
Yeah.
Right at the end for no reason.
And that's the time to do it. This is so stupid.
So great.
Roll credits.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. The sad New York montage during the Adele song.
So angsty. So melodramatic.
So stupid. It's so great.
There are a lot of Jane favorites, actually, in terms of tropes. And we can touch on them more in the shenanigans. But we also have meddling weather.
Yep.
And then something that I quickly want to say about being clumsy. For a change, it's the guy who's clumsy.
Love.
Love it.
And he should be clumsy. He's been struck by lightning. I will never get over this.
I can't believe this is the third film in a row where we have an instance of girl put on your shoes / practical shoes.
I think it's also like a weird time period thing.
When we were wandering around in stilettos a lot more.
Yeah, like it was kind of expected a lot more at events and things like that. Like there was just more stilettos happening in the aughts and early 10s.
Yeah, that's true. To go to a club, I mean, I'm dating us now, but whatever. You would have to be in stilettos to go clubbing.
Yeah, dressed up. And there's no such thing as comfy heels.
Yeah.
A block heel? What are you, 40?
And they weren't as prevalent and accessible.
Yeah, it's true.
If I think now, I've been on set where I'm styled by stylists who I'm pretty sure are Gen Z, and the office wear, it's practical, comfortable shoes, which I'm not complaining because you're in these shoes for 12 hours, but it was just so interesting that like even in these very fancy office settings, you are in cute but comfy shoes.
It was just a different time. And so I do agree that you would be desperate to take off these stilettos at a certain point. But during that time period, I had this thing called fast flats.
Yes.
I think they were made by Dr. Scholl's.
Yes.
They were like little foldable flats.
I had a pair too.
Yeah, they could fit in your clutch. They were tiny. They were like the size of a wallet when they were folded up. This is not going to save me if there's glass on the street, but in a pinch, it's going to make it so that I'm not walking barefoot in the streets of Manhattan. And that's enough.
Just something between you and the bare street. That's all we're asking.
I think that's why it bothers me so much, because we've never talked about this. You had them. Everyone had fast flats.
We were on different continents.
Yeah.
And still.
They were in every CVS pharmacy. Like, you could just get them as emergency shoes in the insole aisle.
Because we knew it's a problem.
Yeah.
Because everyone is wearing these stilettos most places.
I put those fast flats in every bag. I always had them, and I used them a few times.
They've come in handy in a pinch on several occasions.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't been in a stiletto since the 20-teens, I think.
I decided I would try a pair of my stiletto pumps the other day.
Oh, yeah?
And I haven't done stilettos since like 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I walked around perfectly fine, and then I went to walk up a ramp, and my dress was too long, and I got caught up in the bottom of the dress, and I busted my kneecap so hard.
No.
And I was like, yep, this is why we don't do stilettos anymore.
Yeah.
Never again. All of them are getting thrown in the trash, and I'm keeping my block heels only.
Block heels and wedges are the way to go. Can't do it.
I think I hairline fractured my left patella, but
Oh.
it still hurts. This was like 2 months ago at this
no.
point. I think it's hilarious. I learned my lesson.
Funny.
As soon as I had fallen and people were helping me up, and I was like, I don't know what I thought. I thought I was still 20. I don't know why I did this.
I can't believe you fully took them outside for an adventure after not wearing heels for 6 or 7 years. You're like, no, we're going out of the wild.
My thought process was that I would wear regular shoes to the theater.
Okay.
I would change into my cutesy hot outfit at the theater. I would walk like a grand total of 6 blocks and then probably take a cab home that night. And so I was like, this is a minimal risk night to attempt the stilettos. And I still couldn't handle it. So learned my lesson.
You need to build up stamina for this shit.
I was fine. I walked to the restaurant perfectly fine. No problems. My feet didn't hurt. It was that damn heel that got caught in the long dress that when I went to step, I couldn't step. My foot wouldn't move because I was tangled. Never again.
Oh, no.
I'm so mad, especially because I wasn't even tipsy. I don't have any excuse.
Oh. Well, then you're not at fault. It's the dress with the shoe pairing.
Yeah, it was a hot dress, though. It was my first time wearing it, and I got ambitious.
You were feeling yourself?
Yeah, I now know it needs tailoring.
Yeah. Well, the wedding I attended, I broke the wedge I was wearing, so...
No, how do you break a wedge?
I don't know. I was coming down from where the loos were, and it's downhill, so I guess I stepped funny, and it just went...
Just like tore off the bottom?
Yeah. Luckily, I had flats with me for the dancing part.
Good.
It was, RIP, a very comfy wedge, but they were still very, very high, and I didn't want to twist an ankle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What else do we want to hit? I feel like at this point, everything else is wrapped up in shenanigans.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, let's just do it then.
Yee.
Shenanigans! Okay, the shenanigan of meeting the ex at the beginning, to dive into it more. We do a very classic, oh, I'm going to talk about this person and not realize
Yes.
they're right behind me. So funny. And the part that makes it even funnier is that all the friends and coworkers know that he's standing right behind Beth. She continues to go on and on about him. The peanut gallery goes on and on about how she's not over him. Even one of them saying, I'm not over your breakup yet.
Yes.
The part that really got me, I hate that I'm being a coastal elite right now. I have to, though. So Kristen Bell specifically says, I know I had a hard time getting over the breakup. Why did you do it in the Applebee's? And I was like, girl, you live in New York City. The hell are you going to an Applebee's for? There's like one. You had to go to Times Square
Yes.
to go to Applebee's.
Why? No self-respecting New Yorker is going to Times Square unless it's for like a very specific reason, and then you get in and out as fast as possible.
Or deep, deep in one of the boroughs. But I don't think she lives that deep because she makes good money.
Yeah.
No, this is one of those things where I was like, I don't know who wrote this, but you live in, like, Cleveland.
Not Cleveland
And-
getting strays.
I'm sorry. Okay, fine. You could be living in LA and this would make sense. This makes no sense in New York City.
No, none. I was not in an Applebee's the entire time I was living in New York.
No.
Because why would I?
The only time I've gone to a chain in recent memory was as a gag. We all got dressed up way too nice and went to the Olive Garden in Times Square before we went to go see the Stranger Things play.
That's funny.
Because we were at rehearsal, needed something to eat nearby, and then had to go to the show like a couple hours later. So we made it a whole thing. But other than that, like, why?
Not the Applebee's.
Applebee's in New York City isn't happening. It's not happening.
Staying on with this shenanigan, then they ratchet it up even more. Like, bad enough, she's talking badly about someone there right behind you. She turns around and she has a big green piece of lettuce or whatever in her teeth.
Oh, yeah.
So they're just piling on.
To make it worse and worse for her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? And I realized something just now. The little sister, she is a flight attendant. That's how she met him. And I only remember that because I wrote a quote that one of the coworkers said, which is, she's super lucky. Imagine having a job that sorts men into class. And I thought that was a delicious quote.
I remember that quote. A shenanigan that to me is indicative of this movie going all the way with the bit,
oh,
as we've
please,
discussed with the dramatic chase, is her not being able to break this vase.
The trick vase. Thank you. Okay, good.
So she's the maid of honor at a sister's wedding who's married this beautiful Italian man, and someone hands her a vase and says, as the maid of honor, she has to break the vase, and the amount of pieces that the vase breaks into indicates how many happy years that person wishes for the couple.
Correct.
Oh, it's her sister who gives it to her. So she says, break it hard. My goodness, does she try?
She truly does, too. And I'm not even kidding you. This was a trick vase that they used because she is slamming it on the ground. She is hitting it with the mic stand.
Yeah.
She is going all the way in and cannot break this thing.
She breaks the entire champagne fountain.
She even hits Grandma.
Yes. And then Nick just takes it and is like, there you go, and just shatters it.
I know. He's like, Opa, yay, okay, done, moving on. Nick is a real G in this whole wedding sequence.
Mm-hmm.
He just covers for her, despite it being half-assed and not great a few times, but still.
Mm-hmm. I really thought when I watched the trailer that we would be getting an enemies to lovers. I was not expecting a meet cute, you know, and the ending being what it was. Obviously, it had to be this way.
Oh, yeah.
But I was just surprised. I was expecting a enemies to lovers.
I did not watch the trailer, so I had no idea, but that sounds so interesting. I can see how you could make it look like it would be. The way that he falsely translates and making it sound like she wants to sleep with the husband.
Yeah, she made it so dirty.
Yeah, not that she just wishes them as many years of love and magic as she's had with her own sister or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a bad translation. Oh, he does her so dirty. I swear to God, that Italian grandma put a hex on her for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, and she stole his phone? Gosh, she was so messy in this whole thing.
She's like, you have reception? I need reception. And she just runs off with his phone.
That's when the blackout happens, and she mysteriously has his phone in her hand. Not to mention, by the way, everybody, when Nick shows up, Cherry Pie plays, and he drops the phone, it's a BlackBerry. Man, what a timepiece.
They were only in vogue for like a couple of years.
So funny.
But goodness, did they take over everything.
They were the phone of businessmen. Which doesn't make any sense. Isn't he just a writer?
Yes, he's a columnist.
Yeah, she should already have a BlackBerry, not him.
Yeah.
Illogical. Okie dokie, next.
I really liked how they cut to each man as she picked up their coin in the fountain. They had a lot of fun with the visual gags of this and the magical music playing as each man looks up.
Over the top look up.
Yes. It's so dramatic.
They didn't even do like rom-com, tongue-in-cheek drama. They went full melodramatic.
Telenovela.
Turn to the camera look. This shit was straight out of the Grey's Anatomy playbook. It's too much.
Hilarious. And then they cut to like some of the people who she throws their coins back. So you see them experience this transformation and then snap out of it again.
I think it was just the one guy who was walking with his wife.
So funny. Because some of these coins could have been in there for really long.
Yeah. I guess theoretically, they clear out the fountain every so often.
Yeah, I suppose so. So then, are all those people in love with the people who clean out the fountain?
You're right.
What's happening to the coins?
You're absolutely right. I don't make the rules.
And then how they set up the visual gag of the poker coin with Nick. Cut to at the apartment, they're playing poker with boys, and you as the audience are like, oh, poker. And they could have just left it at that. But then for effect, we need to see Beth discovering the poker chip as well.
Yeah, because we can't remember the very distinct poker chip that is not a coin.
Yes.
After their love is solidified, she gives back the poker chip and he still loves her and the love is real. The movie should have ended.
But no.
That's it. But it doesn't end.
We needed a postscript.
They go back to Italy.
To get married.
To the same church.
For reasons.
She's invited all the men that were in love with her, and Napoleon Dynamite pulls out a poker chip again. Here's the thing. All we had to do, we didn't even have to do any of this. You just say that the poker chip was never magical.
Yeah.
The poker chip's not a coin. It doesn't count. Loophole. And so the fact that they go through the trouble of putting the coin into the fountain just to find out that the father officiating the wedding is the one who was in love with her and fighting his urges is so funny.
It's so unnecessary.
But I guess we needed to come full circle so she could get in the fountain again, I guess.
I don't know why. We needed a wet dress again. I don't know.
After dramatically running out of the church.
Yes. She did a runaway bride.
That whole extra ending wasn't needed.
It was so funny because as the father is busy with the vows, he's behaving really antagonistically towards Nick. And I was thinking back to the start of the movie, like, did he show an interest in her? Because it's a Catholic priest, so they're not supposed to have romantic relationships.
I thought that he had a crush on Nick.
No, it turns out that it was his coin that he won off Nick, which they did establish at the beginning that they've been playing poker the night before.
Yeah.
I was like, why is father wishing for romantic love by making a wish in the fountain in the first place? He's a priest. Like, what's going on, my guy?
Maybe the fountain is like Saint Bridget in that you can make any wish you want and she don't listen. She just tries to find you love. Maybe he was like, I wish for eternal love to everyone who I marry. Maybe he was just like trying to be a bro about it. And much like Saint Bridget, this Greek god was like,
he was
nah.
like, nope. Maybe because he said he was new, he'd just taken his vows. So maybe he was wishing to like be fully committed to the church and community and whatever. Yeah. It's just like, nah. We going romantic love.
Hilarious. I have two more shenanigans I want to go over briefly.
Okay.
The first one being, every single time we find out new information about how the magic love fountain works, we cut to Beth's little sister
and
her new fiance doing lovey-dovey things in Italy.
This is what I was going to talk about.
And they're so funny. The first one I wrote down was just naked gnocchi.
Is it naked bacon?
Oh, no, it's naked gnocchi because they're making pasta.
That's so funny.
But there's a potato on the table.
So it's obviously gnocchi.
So someone went out of their way to specifically make sure that the audience would see that it's naked gnocchi.
I was distracted by the nakedness to like pay too close attention to what they were making.
I was looking at the pasta and then I saw a potato and I went, that's gnocchi. And as we learn more and more about the magic, we find out first she needs to take the coin all the way back to Italy and put it back in the fountain to get these guys to leave her alone. And then find out that she doesn't need to go all the way back to Italy. She can, in fact, just give the coins directly back to the guys to get them off her back.
Yeah, because he consulted with his grandmother. She's just like, oh, my new handsome Italian husband just spoke to his grandmother. And she's like, this is another way that it can work.
The grandmother that definitely cursed Beth, by the way. And then the other thing that I wanted to just quickly go over was the insanity of the men, specifically the blind dining, which I hate as an idea.
Yeah, I also hate it. Especially as a first date idea. The concept alone, I already hate. Like, it's just so unnecessary. But for a first date, why?
If someone brought me to blind dining, I would not go.
Does it still exist? Is it still a thing that's happening?
I don't know. There might be one place that still does it, but we live in New York City. There are pests. No one can see anything. There is no amount of money that's going to convince me to just eat your food.
Also, I mean, that's the biggest reason not to.
Yeah, absolutely not.
But the risk of, like, messing on yourself, you can't see what you are grabbing for. I don't know.
Thank God they addressed that in the scene, too. Just walking around blindly. So dumb.
Such a hazard.
Knocking into people, grabbing someone's head.
When they were leaving, though, she's like, are you dark dining and dashing? Why do you have to say dark specifically?
It's hilarious.
So silly.
The fact that over and over again they think the waitress has left and they keep talking about her, and then surprise, Kristen Shaw's still there.
I can hear you. And then it gets so bad there at some point to like, are you just going to stand here the whole night?
Answer, yes. And Danny DeVito's character says, I'm your liver worst nightmare. They just made him sausage guy. They didn't give him anything else. He's rich. He's a wealthy benefactor for the Guggenheim now. And they just made him sausage man.
That was his only character trait.
Their character trait. He could have.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But they were just like sausage guy.
Yeah.
And he shows up with a bunch of sausages.
Devastating.
And he makes a bunch of sausage jokes. Then one thing that Dax Shepard does as the model when he introduces himself, he's like, I'm Gale, like Gale Force Wind. Okay.
And he's like, I changed my name to Gale because I wanted it to be like the strongest force on Earth. And she's like, water? Water's like the strongest impact on Earth and the shape of it. And he's like, no, it's wind. And she's like, no, like the Grand Canyon. Like, no.
So funny.
He's so horrendous.
Terrible.
That at the end, when she is saying goodbye to all the guys and giving the coins back.
Yes, this is so funny.
She gets to Gale and she gives him the coin and says, I'll miss you least of all. It's just
because she has this beautiful moment with each of the other guys and they say like, this is what I wanted to do.
This is what I learned.
And because of you, I discovered this about myself, whatever. And he first says, I didn't really feel like I grew or learned anything. Anyway.
I know, and he ends is like, I'm happy I could help you, though.
Yes.
Great.
On your journey.
Thanks.
And then Napoleon Dynamite as the magician tries to win her over by doing a series of magic tricks, which is just...
I hated these so much.
Not the way to a woman's heart, but okay.
Also, just to steal her watch over and over and over again.
That's harassment.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
And annoying.
And then filming some of it with your guy Pedro. Why are Napoleon Dynamite and Pedro both in this film? It doesn't make any sense.
And I don't think Pedro says anything.
Like 2 words, maybe. He's just the camera guy.
So funny. So Napoleon Dynamite does this pick a card magic trick. And he says, is this your card? And she says, no, sorry, it's a joker. And he's like, yes, you're right, because the joker is me.
And then he digs into his chest to pull out a prop heart, but it's the creepiest thing ever. Children start screaming.
Because it's bloody.
Nightmare.
Oh, it's just a disaster.
And he drops it. It's so funny.
Because it's slippery, it's full of fake blood.
Ew.
He was committing a little bit too hard to giving her his heart. just a little. Oh gosh. And then Beth is so freaked out by all these men stalking her that when Nick tries to get her attention, we think, pepper sprays him, but she doesn't have pepper spray.
Oh, yeah.
So she breath sprays him.
It's just like menthol.
Yes. And then she's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't think it would actually hurt that much.
I love that.
But I didn't have pepper spray.
Because in other films, they would actually do a pepper spray.
Yeah.
And then you're not chatting after that. Like, you
No
have to go to the
way.
hospital or flush your
Yeah.
eyes out for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
There's no conversation. There's no cute little back and forth happening after
No.
you've pepper sprayed someone.
Absolutely not. So I'm glad they just mentholed him. Well, that's all I have.
I think I'm good.
Well, that leads us to a fun fab fail. I think it's fun.
For me, it's a fun too.
It doesn't make any sense, and that's
No.
why it's really fun, because they know it and they lean all the way in.
Yeah, they really commit to all the bits, which is what is fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a good movie per se, and it's not something that I'd recommend to people who don't like rom-coms.
Yeah, if you like rom-coms, this would go high on the list, in my opinion. But this is not an introductory rom-com
No.
or particularly well-crafted.
No. In terms of enjoyment, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But like you said, to introduce someone to the genre, I also wouldn't watch this with someone who doesn't really like the genre either, because it's bonkers. It makes no sense. It's so stupid.
So dumb.
Nothing
I love it.
makes any sense.
I love it.
It's so stupid. I wish I could think of better adjectives than stupid, but it is just really dumb in the best way.
Yeah.
It has no right to be so funny.
I'm delighted by it. I wouldn't change a thing. It's also just really refreshing to me, I think in large part because of Kirsten Bell and Josh Duhamel. I don't know how you say his name.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. But I've seen them in other things.
Yeah.
And the reason why they are both such successful actors is despite the fact that they're both hot, they're not worried about embarrassing themselves
Yeah.
and being silly and weird. It's delightful to watch them be imperfect. Whereas some people who are too pretty, which is a lot of the people who they cast in rom-coms,
Yeah.
they're so concerned with quality of voice or not looking dumb or embarrassing themselves.
Having the right angle.
Yeah, that they can't have any fun.
Yeah.
And you can't have that, in my opinion,
Yes.
in a truly good rom-com.
I mean, Josh is fully falling down a opening in the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And walking into poles and just being a total goofball, being struck by lightning, having this really angsty portrait.
You can have perfect vocal quality and never look embarrassing when you're doing a romantic drama like The Notebook, but not in a comedy.
No. And both of them got that. They are both excellent actors. And we have so many well-known comedic actors in this film as well.
So
and I think
many.
that lends to the enjoyment.
What a delight to see Will Arnett's face.
Yes. And Bobby Moynihan before SNL.
Yeah, what a surprise.
So nice to see him. The woman who plays the best friend as well.
Oh, yeah.
Who is...
Ukulele Girl.
Yes. And so many things. And the second half of a comedy band with Ricky. Oh, I can't remember her surname now. But it was so great to see these titans of comedy
Right?
in this really zany film.
I had so much fun with that.
Well,
That brings us to...
our favorite segment. Give me the cheese,
please.
I think I went first last time, so you get to go first.
Okay, perfect. So, 3, 2, 1.
Blue
Fontina.
cheese.
I like yours. I considered a gorgonzola for a minute. I went with Fontina because, number 1, Italian cheese.
Of course.
It is a semi-soft cheese. It's like in the middle. And that's kind of where I place this film in terms of ranking. Not necessarily a fab, not a fail, but a good solid fun. So medium solidity. And I also had to pick something that had a nutty quality to it. I wouldn't say a Swiss because I don't think that there's necessarily plot holes. I think they logically plotted out everything. We know what we're getting. So I don't think there's any gaping holes, but definitely nutty, definitely weird,
Yes.
and definitely delightful. Simple and short and to the point this week. Fontina.
Nice. So I went with blue cheese, which can get a bit of a bad rap. I personally really like a good blue.
I love blue.
But it's not for everyone. Much like, as we've discussed in Fun Fab Fail, this is not a everyone kind of rom-com.
It's a good call.
You need to really like the genre. You really need to be a fan of the genre to appreciate this film. The same with blue cheese. I think you really need to appreciate cheese in general. It is a strong flavor profile.
Yep.
She be pungent. This movie is strong. It's taking the bits all the way
So far.
beyond their logical conclusion, beyond all reason.
Oh my god.
It's crazy. But with the right accompaniments, like the right casting, a blue cheese can be a true delight.
Yeah.
Same way that this film was.
No, perfect.
That's it.
So, there you have it. That was our discussion of When in Rome.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie, any shenanigans we may have missed, or what cheese you think it is.
You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansandsupod, or you can email us at shenanigansandsupod@gmail.com.
We hope you'll join us next time, and until then, even if it wasn't real for you, it was very real for me.
Bye.
For a film called When in Rome, we spent very little time in Rome.
I'm not sure that chapel was in Rome.
But even if it was, we spent maybe 15 minutes in Italy. I'm being generous.
Also, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do, right? Go with the flow. That has nothing to do with the magic of the fountain. It's a terrible film name.
She didn't change at all. She stayed just
Yeah.
as neurotic and work obsessed as she's always been.